Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is HANIS binti HUSSIN. I would like to start the presentation of research report with background study. According to INGRANS 2020, strength of a government depends on its management and administration practice. Good governance is the basis of management principle to strengthen government administration. Good governance leads to good decision making, directly contributing to improving public sector service. Therefore, it shall be strong governance and organizational behavior for strengthening ethical values that are possibly achieved by practicing good governance. Governance is a system and structure that should be implemented continuously to achieve organizational goals.
Next is problem statement. The top management face many challenges in addressing the issue of good governance in abuse of authority, the exploitation of insider information for personal advantage, corruption, and so on. These difficulties have a negative impact on the public's perception of public servant as a whole. According to Nurul 2017, Datuk Shamsun Bahrain, the Deputy Chief of the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission, stated that 40% of Malaysian government personnel convicted of bribery were under 40. Hence, the foundation of good governance like the rule of law, accountability, transparency, and effectiveness and efficiency should be applied. Top management must exhibit a keen sense of responsiveness and a dedication to acting in the interest of the governed. To improve service in Majlis Perbandaran Kuala Kangsar MPKK, top management should practice good governance. The research objectives are stated as follows. Next, the research question of this study are as follows. Theoretical framework for this study is the good governance concept. According to the World Bank 1994, the World Bank puts more focus on how the government administers the social and economic resources for the benefit of community development. According to United Nations 2012, define governance as the exercise of political, economic, and administrative authority to manage a nation affair. Political governance involves policy, strategy, and formation. According to the World Bank and United Nations, the public sector's development approach is to foster good governance. Good governance is a movement driven by the interests of diverse groups to strengthen current institutions. Out of the 9 elements of good governance, only 4 elements of good governance were highlighted in this study as practice of good governance among public service, which is accountability, transparency, effectiveness and efficiency, and the rule of law. Now we proceed to the first element of good governance, which is accountability. According to RAMLI 2006, accountability in public service includes being responsible for public service performance, being responsible for public service costs, and so on. Accountability also means setting standards for how well public officials do their jobs and putting in place ways to make sure those standards are met.
The next element is transparency. Transparency implies that decisions are made and enforced in accordance with rules and regulations. It also implies that information is freely available to those who will be affected by such decision. Transparency refers to the general public access to information as well as clarity about government rules, regulations, and decisions such as Official Secret Act. Third is effectiveness and efficiency. According to BISWAS 2020, effective utilization of resources include in the concept of efficiency, which related to good governance. In order to keep the economy and society moving forward, decision maker or a leader must have a long-term perspective on how to improve governance. Lastly, rule of law, which publicly codified, equally enforced, and consistent with international human rights norms and standards. Rule of law also calls for people's safeguard to ensure that the supremacy of law, accountability to the law, fairness in application of law, separation of power, participation in decision making, and legal transparency are upheld.
The research design in the interview session was conducted with public servants from the top management of the Majlis Perbandaran Kuala Kangsar MPKK to discuss good governance using a conversational approach, which one-on-one interview to elicit additional information from the respondents. Also, apply open-ended questions that can generate meaningful and culturally relevant responses from participants that are unexpected answers. The researcher chose a cross-sectional study because data would be collected from the sample size at a single moment in time, hence lowering the chance of poor result and saving time and money. In this study, the unit of analysis will be based on the individuals where top management in MPKK was selected as respondent to get the information and data on good governance. The researcher conducted an interview to target respondent, which is the top management in MPKK, then posed and clarified question and examined further based on the response. The researcher used structured interview because there is a list of questions and during the interview, the questions are asked and answers are recorded. This is the list of respondents and their position in Majlis Perbandaran Kuala Kangsar MPKK.
Purposive sampling has been selected to conduct an interview among top management in Majlis Perbandaran Kuala Kangsar, which involve top management because it is the highest hierarchy in organisation to promote good governance. The sample involves 6 respondents. As for data analysis, interview transcript and notes has been used as textual data. Interview data allow exploration the meaning of concept by respondent through values, belief, thoughts, and experience associated with area of study.
Now we continue to the finding of the research. According to Smith 2007, the United Nations defined good governance as policy for sustainable human development and government that is democratic, decentralized, empowered, and responsible for safeguarding the rule of law and human rights. In this slide, this is the respondents' answer about the understanding of public servant toward good governance practices in MPKK. According to Bozar, Pamu and Stan 2008, the good governance concept has served as a yardstick for sound development policy that are oriented toward core feature of the governance, structure and process. It is compatible with each respondent's perspective that good governance is a responsibility that must be carried out in compliance with all established standards and serve customer and the community well to ensure that everything delivered is achieved according to the client charter.
Challenges faced by top management in Majlis Perbandaran Kuala Kangsar in upholding good governance practices. First is challenges in effectiveness and efficiency. Effectiveness and efficiency are important to the performance of the institution to serve the public interest and to create quality service. Second, effectiveness and institutional process generate results to satisfy the need. The concept is relatable to the respondent point of view that efficiency ensures that government resources are utilized efficiently. Second is challenges in transparency. Based on the good governance concept, transparency is the action and decision-making procedure taken by the government that are subject to the proper level of examination from the other branches of government and civil society. This is a challenge to top management in MPKK to practice transparency in which information must be delivered in a way that is easily understood and accessible, generally through the media. Relationship between good governance and service delivered. By applying elements of good governance, service can be improved by adhering to the law that has been stated. Other than that, by having administration skill and financial accountability. Expenditure control is part of financial accountability. Effective budget management can be related to the concept of good governance, which accountability in public service include accountability of public service costs, which improve the service delivered through effective expenditure control. Next, integrity of public servant. Attitude of public servant itself will enhance the performance of MPKK, which directly minimize the society's complaint regarding service delivered. Therefore, practices of good governance obviously improve service by MPKK, which enhance the effectiveness of public sector service. In conclusion, based on the first research question, it can be indicated practicing good governance requires the understanding of good governance itself by public servant. Various perception of public servant regarding the good governance concept, whereas public servant agree that good governance practices are crucial in performing the duties such as transparency, accountability, rule of law, and effectiveness and efficiency. Next, based on the second research question, practicing good governance by top management in the organization is challenging. It requires strong support and total commitment from the whole organisation. Challenges faced by top management could hinder organization's effort as it requires the high moral principle of public servant. Top management encounter many challenges, such as challenges in practicing effectiveness and efficiency and also transparency. Then, based on the third research question, practice of good governance strongly correlated with improvement of service delivered. It is because the practices of good governance elements such as adhere to the rule of law, having financial accountability and high integrity could result in better work performance, which directly improve the service delivered. As for limitation, it involves difficulty in getting the targeted respondent to answer the research question regarding good governance. Small sample size could lead to insufficient information. Other than that, potential bias in the answer of respondent, which public servant give the popular answer that colleague could agree with instead of giving their true opinion from themselves.
Now we continue to recommendation. The first recommendation is the subject matter of this study needs to be widened. This study focused on a specific MPKK employee across division and units on good governance among MPKK top management. Due to MPKK's small size, it's challenging for researchers to collect more top management respondents due to external responsibilities and restricted time. Future research should include MPKK external client that may yield different results. Next, the researcher must write interesting questions throughout the interview. Top management give a true or safe answer without informing the respondent of the truth. Creating specific inquiries demands precise wording, but complex and ambiguous questions may confuse respondents. Try to avoid jargon, acronyms, and obscure language. A complex question causes prejudice, confusion, and incomplete survey.